Today we're back in the garden area, and we went to town and picked up this blackberry bush, and we're going to plant this in the ground today. This is a variety from the University of Arkansas. They named this one Sweetark Polka Blackberry. So this is not a Primacane blackberry, which means it's not going to grow on the old stem and the new stem. It's only ever going to produce fruit on the new stem every year. So we're going to plant this in the ground right here today. I done dug a little bit of a hole, threw a little bit of amendments in the soil, but this is a couple of blackberry bushes we've been working on getting growing up right here. So we have probably about, I don't know, 6 or 7 plants here right now. We got a couple of suckers we're going to try to move down to the end where some we planted last year has died. But this variety here is called the Pirmacane Freedom. And this variety is a Pirmacane. So you can see that this branch here is new growth from this year. And so is this one, new growth. This growth where you see all these berries is from last year. So this branch from last year has produced berries early in the season. Later on in the season, these new stems will produce berries as well, and they will also produce a second time next year. Around this same time, they will take the place of these older branches from last year. There's a couple of varieties, I'm unsure what they are, forgotten what I planted. I think we did some Apache, some Navajo. This is another variety of Pirmacane from the University of Arkansas. That Pirmacane Freedom is from the University of Arkansas as well. And these two grew very well here. You know, some of these other ones are kind of taking a little bit longer to grow. If you look right here, this is either an Apache or a Navajo. And this bush over here is either an Apache or a Navajo. And it's taken, you know, this is 2 years right here. This also is an Apache or Navajo, and it is, you know, that's 2 years, barely growing. So I'm gonna try this year to make some cuttings off of these two and possibly that one we're gonna plant today, and try to root a couple of cuttings to try to get this going a little bit better than it is now. There's an unknown variety at the bottom that my mom planted, and I think there's a couple other unknown varieties that she planted that are a thornless variety. Now, behind the camera is my youngest daughter. Her name is Rain, and when she was young, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we planted some raspberries right here, all in this section of fence. I can't remember how long ago it was, but we planted them and they all died. They all look like this, like a stick. And then all of a sudden, last year, this little raspberry just popped up from the root ball and started growing. So this will be the only raspberry we will have, and it's probably because we haven't had a lot of luck. I think we have planted maybe 8 raspberry plants in our time on this property, and here you go. This one died and came back to life. We got 1. So we're gonna stick to the blackberries, I do believe. So we'll get started. I got a couple of holes dug here, because I got some suckers coming off of this Pirmacane Freedom. If you take a look here, these little suckers here are obviously coming off of the root of this big plant. So I'm going to attempt to get in here and separate them out without disturbing the root structure of that larger plant, because we don't want to mess it up. I'm going to leave this larger one here, and this sucker here I'm pretty sure is coming off the root of this other variety of Pirmacane, so I'm gonna just leave it there. So we're gonna attempt to pull these 2 little suckers off of this root ball and transplant them down there. But before we do that, we're gonna take this potted plant that we bought today, and we're gonna try to free it up from the pot. I've dug the hole. We will go ahead and put this in. It's been raining a decent amount in our area, and it's going to continue raining for I want to say another 6 days, light rain. So just gonna take the plant out of the pot, disturb the bottom a little bit, try to encourage downward root growth. So you can see there, kind of disturbed the bottom a little bit, kind of broke it up. I'm gonna leave it planted in this garden soil that it's in, and put it in top of on top of that little bit of amendments I did in that soil. I could come in and just get a little bit of it to break up, just to try to encourage the roots to grow in the native soil that we have here in Arkansas and not be stuck in this little ball of garden soil trying to soak up nutrients from this. It has to grow into that soil for it to survive. So a little bit of disturbance ain't too bad. I wouldn't go too crazy. But we're gonna plant it in here. It's kind of leaning to one side, kind of shooting back off towards the fence, so I'm gonna plant it that way. I'm gonna kind of try to set it into my fence so it wants to grow into the fence. We got it set in the hole. And now we're gonna grab our shovel. This is all native soil here. It's not part of this larger pile that we had delivered. So I'm gonna sprinkle some of this in the hole around it. Kind of just get that dirt to make sure it's going around that root ball pretty good. You don't gotta compact it too much. The rain that's coming will settle all that dirt into that hole. Just make sure you ain't got no air pockets or nothing like that. At least that's how I attempt to do it. Obviously ain't the greatest at it. We've lost several plants here in our time on the property, so take it how you will. This is just us trying to be more self-sufficient. So I've done that. I'm going to take a little bit of this soil that we had delivered with this, you can see the difference in color there. This is super soil. I'm going to put it around a couple of the plants here. Try to encourage them to grow a little better than they are. Kind of give them a little bit of nutrients to feed on. And that's how I'm going to do the rest of them as well. But for right now, let's go after these suckers. So what I'm going to do for these suckers, I've come through here and tried to pull some of this grass up. I'm going to just gently push the shovel into it, hoping I don't kill my bigger plant. You don't want to chop up your roots too bad. You're just looking for whatever is attached to this sucker so that you can attempt to take some roots off with this plant. That's really all you want to do. So here, I've gotten a little bit of a root structure up with this plant, and I don't believe that I've disturbed the larger plant's root ball too much. So we're going to take this one, we're going to set it to the side here, and we're going to go after this one, which is closer to the mother plant, so I'm going to be a little bit careful here. I'm going to just try to get down in there, and if I feel something solid, I'm going to try not to just cut through it with the shovel. All I want to do is get that to pop up enough to where I can get a hold of some roots. There we go. We got something going on. As you can see here, if you look in this hole, I was underneath some of these other roots from this plant. This is roots from the mother plant. I definitely don't want to cut those. So being diligent not to tear them up is very important. Well, it looks like here that this sucker is attached to a larger root that is from the mother plant. So I'm not sure how this is going to work if I pull this out of here, because there's not any smaller root system like this. It's only this large root ball, or this larger root that's on it. Let me see if I can get something else to come out. I'll take that. Yeah, there we go. Now, without trying to take too much of that root, you really do want some of these smaller roots to help this plant soak up nutrients. So I got 3 pieces of it there. And I got some snips, but they're all the way in the shop over there. So I'm gonna just take my knife. If I can get these gloves off. And I'm gonna just try to cut back here on this root. Just like that. I'm gonna try to come up here, cut up here on this root. Now you can see that I've managed to get 3 of the smaller roots out, and there's a little piece right there. So that's kind of what we wanted. Wish we had more, but that's what we were given, and we're gonna be thankful for it. So now we are going to attempt to plant these. We're going to come on down here, and I'm going to put one of them right here. I'm going to put one of them down. You can see this is one we had planted, and it's obviously dead. So let me grab my wheelbarrow here. Lola, pick that up and put it in my truck, please. Now you want the plant growing in native soil. You don't want the plant growing in something like this. But it doesn't hurt to come in here and throw a little bit of that nutrients down there in the hole where the roots are going to be trying to suck nutrients up to get the plant started. So there we go. That's what we're going to put in here. And then we're going to attempt to come in here. You don't want to fold them roots over any. Get them sitting there, and then just kind of, you don't want any, we have a lot of rocks in Arkansas, obviously. 1 handful, there you go, 3 rocks. You don't want any of those rocks up against those fragile roots. So get the plant set up in there like that. Try to keep that organic matter out. And we'll just put this all around the plant. Don't neglect that backside if you're planting up against a fence like I am. And once you get those roots nice and tight and buried and no air pockets around the roots, just kind of fill it in. And then right on top of that, I'm gonna do a little pile of this better soil to try to let some nutrients leach down into the root system with the rain, with the help of the rain. So there we go. And hopefully that plant will grow. One more. This one had a better root structure in my opinion. Well, we will see. So same deal. Try to get those roots to spread out. And then no rocks up against the roots. Kind of bury your fragile roots with some looser dirt. Make sure there ain't no air pockets, and then you can just start filling it in.
Dad, you're covering a leaf.
It's alright. It'll turn into roots, hopefully. Just like that. A little bit of this better dirt we got here. Watch out, girls. And the hope is that some of the nutrients from this super soil leaches down with the rain and supplies the root with nutrients to allow this plant to grow. So we've pulled out some suckers. We're gonna make sure that we backfill that hole that we pulled that last sucker out of. I'm going to spread some of this dirt around our existing plants that are doing good to encourage them to grow better. And that's about it for blackberries for today. Thank y'all. Have a blessed day.